Dads, how should we view ourselves? Are we the problems in the world today as toxic men? Are we the solution as providers and protectors? If that's even how we should think of ourselves. What view of ourselves will help us honour God in being dads? I find as I talk to people, there's lots of confusion about how we should think about ourselves. And I've found the Sermon on the Mount particularly helpful for me in kind of anchoring how God sees me, Matthew 6 and 7, some key parts in it. And so keen to look at that today. Thanks for tuning in. This is Teach Me to Dad. I'm Kurtis. We're kind of in between seasons, in the off season, just looking at some bits of the Bible and what they have to teach us about being a dad. So season 2 will be coming soon. Thanks again to those who have been chipping into that GoFundMe. When season 2 kicks in, I just want to spread the word a little wider and going to try and hit that to some dads that may not have peer networks of dads. That's a thing that I'm hoping this will be good for and be an encouragement for them. So let's get into it, right? So 3 things that we learn from Matthew 6 and 7 about human nature. And so it gives us 3 things that are true of men, true of dads, and gives us a sense of how that'll be helpful for us. So come with me. So Matthew 6 verse 25. Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body or what you'll put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow, nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? That's the first big piece Jesus gives us of humans, that we are valuable, more valuable than the birds of the air, but value because God sees us as valuable. That's a big piece. The second piece, Matthew 7 from verse 1, judge not that you not be judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that's in your brother's eye, but don't notice the log that's in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take that speck out of your eye when there's a log in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the log out of your own eye, then you'll see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Don't give to dogs what is holy. Don't throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn and attack you. Ask and it will be given. Seek and you'll find. Knock and it will be opened. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks it will be opened. Or which one of you, if his son asks him for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a serpent? If then, you who are evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father, who is in heaven, give good things to those who ask him? There's 2 things about human nature in there. There was how humans are evil. Most evil by default. So you got that explicitly in verse 11. If you, though you're evil, know how to give good gifts. But then the whole context of don't judge others because you wouldn't want that judgment to come on you. The assumption being you will always have things that you're vulnerable to be judged by. And if you are taking a speck out of someone else's eye, it's basically assumed by default that you'd have something in your own eye. And so there's that assumption that we have an evil tendency. That's part of our human nature. But you also got, in that verse 11, the sense that we can still do good. If you then, though you're evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will God give good gifts? So we're evil, but we can give good gifts. We can contribute. We can give our son a fish and some bread, and we can do certain good things. And so we'll go on to say, whatever you wish others would do to you, you do to others what you'd want them to do to you. That's the law and the prophets. Now, three things you get about human natures. Three things that it teaches us about men, about dads. We're valuable, we're evil, and we can do good. Now, I just had a couple of thoughts on each one of them that will help us apply these things as we think about them. The first one, be encouraged in your value before God. I heard this line that was part of a stand-up routine by Chris Rock, though it was kind of sobering, not super hilarious. Chris Rock says, "Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. But a man is loved only under the condition that he provides something." Now, I think that's a mindset I think we can have as men, as dads, particularly if we play that role of provider in some way in our family, to feel like we're only loved and valuable on the condition that we provide something. But what Jesus tells us is that that's wrong. At least may be how people around us may perceive us, but we are valuable because God values us. And, interestingly, God is the real provider. He's the one that will feed us, shelter us. He's the one who will do the providing, and he values us. So be encouraged in your value and consider maybe to self-evaluate where you're putting your value in. Is it in what you bring or in how God sees you? Do you see yourself as the provider of your family, or do you pray to God who is the provider of your family? The second thing is be self-aware and humble. We have an evil heart and we may not always see it. So, are men the problem in society? Yep. Us and everyone else. There's a sense that we have that evil nature. And so if your instinct when you hear about bad things that happen in men to say, yeah, but I'm one of the good ones, well, we have the same evil heart. Maybe we've been socialized differently, but we would judge not, lest we be judged. So a big thing that this plays out is to be prepared to say sorry to your kids. That came out lots in season 1 that I just found very encouraging. A self-awareness, a humility that I will fail as a dad. I will do things that are wrong because I've got an evil heart, and so I want to be quick to say sorry. It'll encourage us to see the need to grow and better ourselves and self-evaluate. And, we always want to be growing. Hopefully this podcast gives some glimpse into how we can grow. And I suspect there's an application parenting of take the log out of your own eye in order to help someone else's speck. That I wonder if, particularly as our kids get older, it's important to not be hypocritical if we want our kids to hear how we may be trying to help them. That's it. Well, it'd be worth me chatting to someone with older kids to see how that plays out, but there's something interesting there. And then the last one, strive to do as much good as you can. Strive for the good you can do. Being a dad is a great good. Be optimistic. Dad, you have something to offer. Something to offer the world, something to offer your family, something to offer your kids. You can do good. And so do good. You are not useless. You are not without value. You can do good. So go get them.